Hello, everybody, and welcome to Vintage Markets Inside the Charts. My name is Tamar Mehr from Trade with Precision. So on Friday, the S&P 500 closed above 6,000 for the first time since February, and that was after better than expected non-farm payroll numbers. We also saw the US dollar strengthening as expectation for a Fed rate cut got decreased. So what I've got here is the chart of the S&P on the daily chart, and we can see the importance of that round number and a very strong level of support and resistance. So if I'll zoom out, we can see the many touches that we had on that level. Now we had a very sharp and strong recovery from April lows, and we are now pushing underneath this level. So for our bullish opportunities, what I'd like to see is a push above this level and a close above that area. Then I'll be looking for a pullback to test that level from above on lower time frame and a continuation of this move. Next, I'd like to take a look at the chart of pound versus the US, and let's have a look here on the monthly chart. And we can see here on the monthly chart a very strong push here from a lower low to a higher high and to a significant level, the 1.36. What I like about pound US is the fact that on the weekly chart we have printed here a higher high. Now we can see so far we've got rejection and another rejection of that level. So what I'm looking for is a pullback in the context of the weekly chart. So I'm looking for a pullback in and around the 133.5. If we'll take a look here on the daily chart, we can see on the daily that we have managed to print another higher high before this start of a pullback. So I'm looking for a deeper pullback in the context of the daily, but that will bring us closer to the averages, to that area between the 10 and the 20 moving averages on the weekly chart. So here on the daily, the area that I'm looking for, as I mentioned, is the 1.3350, and we can see it was a breakup level in the past. So we consolidated underneath that, broke to a higher high, pull back and push to another higher high. So on pound US, I'm looking for a deeper pullback into this level. It's a similar story, though not quite the same on euro dollar. So if we'll take a look here on the monthly chart, we're struggling around the level of 1.15.5, 1.16, and we can see the rejection and another rejection. The reason why it's not quite the same, even though we had the same push from a lower low to a higher high on the monthly, is that if we'll have a pullback from where we sit right now, it will mean that the market here on the weekly will print a lower high. But the level that I'm interested in, and we can see the strength of that level in the past, is the 1.12. And if I go back into the monthly chart, we can see the importance of that level. So same story, it's been a strong push to a higher high. I'm looking for a pullback in the context of the higher time frame, but I do prefer the pound versus the US over euro US because of how the weekly chart looks like. Lastly, I want to take a look at the chart of Tesla. So on Thursday, the spat between Elon Musk and President Trump saw Tesla share drop 14%. And while it has recovered some ground on Friday, the company is facing some fierce competition from BYD and also drop in sales in Europe and in China. So if we'll take a look here on the monthly chart, we can see that so far for the month, we pushed into this very important level of 270. We had some consolidation underneath that level before we popped to a higher high. We pulled back into the 200 area and pushed away. So if this candle will close bearish, it will mean that we will print a lower high here on the monthly chart. But we do have a long way to go before this monthly candle is closed. Taking a look here on the weekly, and the weekly has printed tested a lower high. Now we can see we tested here the breakdown level with this bearish rejection candle and a follow through. So what I'm looking for is actually a continuation of this move, potentially to test the 220 area. So taking a look here on the daily chart, I'd like to see this pullback to test the 330 level from below. If we take a look, it was an important level here in the past as well. I'd like to see the market pulling back into that area, so a bit more of that recovery, a bit more of that pullback, and then another test toward the 270 area and a continuation toward the 220. And one of the scenarios that I'd like to see is actually a push inside that level and then another rollover, basically printing another lower high on this level. Happy trading, everyone. Bye for now.